My name is Julia Plevin, and I am the founder of the Forest Bathing Club and the author of The Healing Magic of Forest Bathing. I'm also a creative strategist, and I work with individuals and startups to help them get clear on what they're trying to create and remove any blockages that are in the way. So today we're going to be talking about finding peace and creativity in tough times. Would love to hear, any questions you have, any comments throughout. Engagement is great in these kind of screen reality that we're in. It helps to foster a sense of community. The intention for today is, there's a lot of so first of all, my spin is a little bit different. I'm coming from the forest, and I come from a place of deep nature connection and sharing that. There's a lot of unknowns right now, and there's a lot of talk about pivoting and changing. And before we make changes out of fear, the invitation is to come to a place of stillness and connection to nature. It's here where you will receive guidance and messages of support for your work and for your life. So I'm just going to take a moment to take a few deep breaths. So you're welcome to join with me. We've been staring at screens a lot, and so just go ahead and close your eyes. When you bring your eyes to a close, you allow your other senses to awaken. So go ahead and take 3 deep cleansing breaths. Imagine you're breathing from your heart all the way down into the earth, into the molten core of the earth. And then inhale from the molten core of the earth up into your heart. And then exhale from your heart up into the heavens. And then inhale from the heavens into your heart. And from your heart back to the earth. Slowly blink your eyes open. Notice how you feel. This is just a little sample of a beginning of what a forest bathing practice looks like, which I'll share more about today. So I'm going to share 3 ways to boost your creativity and find peace during these times. The first one is to turn towards nature. So what do I mean by that? This is where forest bathing comes in. Forest bathing is the practice of going to nature as a way to heal. In Japan in the 80s, they started doing research and have scientifically proven the benefits of going to nature as a way to lower your heart rate, your cortisol levels, and your stress. It's helpful to think about what forest bathing is not. So I'm not talking about a walk in the woods with a naturalist, or a run through the forest with your headphones on, or a chatty walk with your friends, or climbing 10 miles up a mountain. It's really about slowing down, attuning to your senses, moving from this doing, we're constantly in this state of doing, into a sense of being. It's when we start to get quiet so that we can hear deeper messages about what's going on. We have a biophilic nature, right? So through 99.9% of human evolution, we spent our days walking on the earth, sleeping on the earth, living on the earth, and now we can go days or weeks, months without ever making contact with the surface of the earth. And of course, now with shelter in place, it's a lot harder to get outside. I think there's also I've noticed a sense of craving nature more. It's almost like in some ways before we're so busy, it's possible to be so busy, you go from your house to your car to your work to the gym to dinner to friends, all this stuff, and you don't even realize that there's no nature in your life. And now that we've slowed down and we're at home, we crave this nature, this connection to nature. Also, humans we know something deep within us knows to turn to nature when we're lost for solace. It's like we're coming to Mother Earth, our mother who can hold us and support us and guide us. So one way that you can do this is to practice going outside and attuning your senses. So paying attention to what you can hear, what you can smell, what you can feel, what you can taste in the air. And yeah, really waking up these senses, especially when we have so much time on screens where we're not really in our bodies. So it's coming back into our animal bodies. Another thing I recommend is when you walk, taking steps, and with each step, releasing something, a thought, something that you're worried about back to the earth. Keep walking until your mind feels clear. Another thing you can do is when you take a walk in nature is pick up a stick or a leaf or a rock, something, and if you have your backyard right now, that's fine. If you're inside, you can imagine doing this. This is actually grows on a white oak tree here in Southern Oregon. But imagine putting all of your worries and your stresses into this object. And then when that feels done, bringing the object back to the earth. And the earth can transmute whatever we're feeling and take it away from us. Would love to hear, as I mentioned, any thoughts this is stirring up in you. I really see this as like a collaborative experience that we're going through right now. So the second way is to ask for support or guidance from the earth. And, I always ask people, what do we get from the earth? Oh, we get food and water and shelter and inspiration and beauty, and the list goes on and on. And what do we give to the earth? And that kind of stops people, and they think, well, best case scenario, we give our compost, we give our breath, but we also, we give our trash, we give our pollution, a lot of negative things. Or we don't even really think about that we're in a relationship with the earth. And so this is how you start to restore that relationship, is by giving offerings. The earth will give us guidance, and it's best practice to give before we receive. So by giving offerings, that could be anything from some heartfelt words to a song, to just some quality time, to seeds or rose petals, flower petals, anything that feels good to you. It's just getting into that practice of giving. And I find that if I'm ever feeling in a place of stress or anxiety or anger or anything, the second I go from like this into a place of giving, it just completely shifts my mindset. Cool. Thank you. Yeah, go take more walks. That's great. Yes, cool. Yeah, I'm so glad that you're feeling into that. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, this feedback is really helpful. I think, especially in this time, I really appreciate just like hearing how this is all resonating with you. So another way that we can connect to nature or to get guidance is to actually ask. I have a practice of finding a tree and asking a tree a question. And I find that when I do, I get some kind of response back. It always surprises me. And when I lead forest baths, which I do all over the country, and I invite people to find a tree and ask a question, people will often say like, "You're crazy," or "Is this gonna work?" Or and I've led venture capitalists in suits on forest baths, and every time I've found that people do get something in response, and it's really beautiful and amazing and beyond me. It's the earth that is here to guide us. And a third way that we can find peace and creativity is to create like the earth. What do I mean? It's about coming into rhythm, into sync. This is where synchronicity comes from, with the earth, with the flows and the energy of the earth. And when we do that, a certain magic happens that's bigger than any of us. This is something that I've experienced throughout my own life. I wrote a book, and someone asked how to get a book deal. I'd say I have no idea. I was just practicing forest bathing, leading the forest bathing club, and a publisher reached out to me asking if I wanted to write a book. So what I believe is that because I was in tune with the earth and doing work on behalf of something bigger than me, on behalf of the well-being of the whole planet, certain things started to happen that were bigger than me and any one of us. And now that when I do work with individuals, a lot of the work is going from this place of in the head, all of these shoulds, all of these worries, to slowing down, opening up, coming into connection with nature. And it's actually going from this doing, reactive place to this more receptive being place. And that's where a lot of creative flow starts to come, and it starts to move through us in a way that is not only more easeful, more joyful, it also is more aligned with the earth. So we're not working against the earth, we're creating alongside the earth. And this is really important if you think about startups. A lot of times we talk about, like sustainability, or like, is it good for the planet? Is it good for climate change? All of that. And then it's like, is it good for humans? Is it human-centered? Do humans like it? And what I really believe is that these are the same things. So if something doesn't work for the greater good of the whole planet, it's also not going to work for humans in the long run, or at any time really, because we are the earth. We are interconnected to the earth. So whatever we do to the planet, we are also doing to ourselves. Another way is to tune into seasons. So if you think about how the earth creates, it's not like go, 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 always on. There's times of pause, right? There's the winter, which is the nothingness, kind of like this slow down, this inward, this resting time, which allows for the birth of spring, of fresh new ideas and energy. And in the summer, it comes into full blossom. And then the fall is literally a time of fruition, of fruiting, of whatever we started that year coming full circle, and then releasing those offerings out and coming back to the earth. So it's these creative cycles that the earth is moving through every year. And we can attune our projects, our work, to be more aligned with these kinds of cycles. So it's not, and really that's when we do that, it's more easeful, more joyful, and it keeps us healthy, which is really important too. It also helps to orient us. So, right now, if you look outside, we're in a time of spring. Flowers are blooming. There's baby geese right where I am. So like there's baby animals being born. There's greens coming out, like dandelion greens, all these fresh greens coming out from the earth. It's really a time of birth. On a planetary scale, we're in a little bit of a time of winter, of mystery, of that space between the last cycle and the next cycle. And so I find that orienting ourselves within these cycles helps make sense of where we are too. And the third way to create like the earth is to look at the earth, to go look for signs of abundance, adaptation, innovation, generosity, and love in the earth. And how can we bring some of those principles into the work that we're doing? So that was a lot. Just to recap, these were 3 ways of finding peace and creativity in these difficult times of social distancing and staying at home, and just in general dealing with a lot of unknown. The first one was turning towards nature. That was like going to nature, the benefits of being in nature. Um, the second one was asking for support and guidance from the earth. So coming into a relationship with the earth, giving offerings, asking questions of trees. And the third was to create like the earth, which is coming into rhythm, into sync with the earth's natural cycles and the certain magic that happens when we do that. It's tuning into the seasons, and it's looking for signs of adaptation, abundance, innovation, generosity, and love.